You're watching Activist TV.
Hello, it's Wayne Naylor and I'm at the Corbyn rally at Leicester Tigers Ground. It's the 6th of May and we're here today to hear what Jeremy Corbyn's got to say about his election campaign.
In 2014, Labour fought to keep Scotland in the UK in the independence referendum. Less than a year later, we campaigned in a general election. 12 months after that, we had the European referendum. And now we've had to campaign in 2 elections at the same time. Folks, they don't call it the struggle for nothing. But you know, Labour is at its best when we're in a fight. Make no mistake, we're fighting for this country's future. And you know what? We've been here before. 20 years ago this week, Labour took on a Tory government who'd run this country into the ground. Patients waiting more than 18 months to have an operation. Sound familiar? Children being taught in classes over 30 in crumbling buildings, and crime increasing after cuts to our police force. Labour pledged to reverse the tide of neglect, and things really did get better. 20 years on, and we have to fix that Tory mess all over again. Theresa May and the Tories made the wrong choices. She cut 20,000 police officers, and crime started to increase. Her government cut social care by £4.6 billion, leaving over 1 million elderly people without the care they need. And now, for the first time since the Tories were last in power, funding for our pupils is being cut. Theresa May's reckless Brexit strategy is putting jobs and living standards at risk. She's determined to pick a fight with Europe because she just doesn't have any answers. Believe me, because I'm there and I know. But this election isn't about Europe. It's about Britain. A Britain that offers care and support from cradle to grave, not leaving people waiting for treatment in crowded hospital corridors. It's about a Britain that allows all our children to reach their potential, not teach them in supersized classrooms. It's about a Britain that delivers for the many, not just the few. Britain has been held back for too long by the Tories. Of course, it's vital that we secure the best deal for Britain, of course it is. But the Tories' reckless approach is putting jobs and the economy at risk. But take it from me, we won't get the right deal by shouting at our friends and threatening other countries. That's not how it works.
Hey! Woo!
So on June 8th, Britain faces a clear choice. A Conservative government led by Theresa May that will continue to hold Britain back, or a Labour government that will serve the many, not just the few. We'll put more bodies back on the beat. We'll properly fund the NHS. We'll deliver the most comprehensive programme of employment rights this country's ever seen. Make sure new jobs are good jobs, and put an end to the race to the bottom in pay, conditions and job security. And get rid of 0 hours contracts, for goodness sake.
Woo!
And believe me, after the next 5 weeks of campaigning, you're going to need those extra bank holidays. Because this is the most important election we've ever faced. We're going to need each and every one of you to use these last 33 days to knock on every door, talk to your friends and do all you can to convince people there really is another way. So let's get out there, take it to the Tories and make sure that June is the end of May.
Woo!
Things can and will get better again. Now
very much. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for being such a brilliant crowd. And thank Leicester Tigers for giving us the space. Reading the history of Leicester Tigers. Well done, Leicester Tigers. And I want to say a big thank you to some other people as well today. I want to thank Glynis Willmott MEP, Chair of our National Executive Committee, not just for what she said this morning, but the way she represents this region in Brussels, the work she does in coordinating the work of all our MEPs, and the enormous help she's been to me personally in building good relations with socialist parties all across Europe. Because we need those relationships, because we are socialists and we believe in working with people, not against them. Glynis also has unbelievable stamina because she's the chair of the National Executive Committee, and as you know, it's famed for its short, brief, concise, erudite discussions where never a point of order would be raised by anybody or anything like that, and she chairs them with such amazing good humour and always gets them through in less than 6 hours. Glynis, thank you very, very much for today. You're the underdog. And I want to congratulate Adele for what she said today and the fantastic victory you achieved on Thursday for all of us.
Yay!
The councillors are stronger for you being on it. The ward is better represented because somebody like you understands the needs of people. You're going to be brilliant. Thank you so much for what you said today. And Chantal, candidate for Newark. There is a Civil War museum in Newark. There is a great history of the Civil War. Our democracy came from that. Always understand your history, because then when you know where you've come from, you know where you're going. But your story of a young woman empowered because we gave the opportunities for young women to be empowered is a story of achievement. I want a Labour government that empowers the whole community so that everyone can achieve their real potential and not be held back by discrimination, by sexism, by racism, by anything else. Thank you for what you've done, what you've said, and I'm looking forward to your election. Okay? And I also want to thank our marathon runner for being here today. Fantastic that you did the marathon on behalf of a charity helping people who've gone through the pain of having alcoholic parents. What you said in Parliament, what you did on it was very brave. You did the marathon and we were all very happy and very proud to support you doing that. But we're also very proud of the work you're doing as Shadow Health Secretary. Would you Well, it's really a no-brainer. Would you rather have Jeremy Hunt as Health Secretary? I mean, I can take the vote if you like. You reckon we'll have a vote? Okay, all right, whatever. But John is absolutely fantastic. What he's done is called these Tories out. Called them out on the cuts to social care, called them out on the underfunding of mental health, and called them out on their sustainability and transformation plans. Whoever dreamt up those titles, I really wonder. And he said, quite rightly, we're going to put a stop to that stuff. We're going to make sure there's a health service and a hospital there for everybody in every part of the country. John is leading us on health.
Yay!
And with John, you'll have a health secretary who doesn't always look for somebody to blame, like you could blame the doctors for not working 20 hours a day, merely 18. Or you could blame nurses, or you could blame staff, or you could blame people for being ill. You could blame lots of people. John instead will make sure that the historic duty of our party of a health service as a human right free at the point of use will be there, and will be there for everybody to deal with health inequality and ensure we have the real security of knowing health, social care and mental health is there for all of us. John, thank you for everything you do. John is a great friend and a great comrade, but he did ask me to be brief this morning because he wants to get out on the doorstep campaigning this afternoon. And he says, all of you that are free this afternoon, and that's those of you that are not going to see Leicester this afternoon, that's the other Leicester, you can join John on the doorstep, and there you are. Vote John Ashworth! Let me sign it for my collection. There can be no doubt, my friends, that but too many fantastic councillors who work tirelessly for their communities lost their seats. We face a huge challenge in the next 4 and a bit weeks. But this general election campaign is also an opportunity, a chance to break free, to create a society in which people are no longer held back by a system that is rigged for the rich. A chance to rebuild Britain for the many and not the few. There is also a huge danger that the Tories' fear-mongering and spin machine will make some people settle for less than they should, resign themselves to things the way they are, underestimating just how many more burdens the Tories could impose if their mission to rig the system for the rich isn't halted by us. The stakes are high. We know from yesterday's election results that the gap between us and the Tories is not as great as many of the pundits have been saying. But we still have many people to convince. And we have 4 weeks to do that. Are we up for the challenge?
Yay!
Yes, millions are sceptical and undecided, not sure which way to turn. Who can blame them? Think about this. Andy Burnham, who had an absolutely brilliant victory to become the new mayor of Greater Manchester yesterday, spoke last week of how alienated people are from the political system. He said, we can't just carry on doing what we're doing. The time has come to do something different. He is right. Our Westminster system is broken and our economy is rigged. Both are run in the interests of the few. Things can and must be different.
Hey!
Labour are under attack because we are standing up to the elites who are determined to hijack Brexit to pay even less tax and take even more of the wealth that we all create. Labour's under attack because we're standing up to the corporate interests, plundering our NHS. £13 billion of NHS budgets is already privatised. How much more will be left if the Tories get another 5 years of damaging our NHS? That's why we're under attack. We're drawing a line under decades of privatisation, from energy and rail to health and social care, that has made some people very, very rich, but it's not delivered richer lives for the vast majority. In this election, we'll be outlining a plan to transform Britain, an upgraded economy run for the many and not the few. It will mean standing up to powerful vested interests. But we are ready for the challenge, aren't we?
Yay!
The only time the Conservatives stand up is when they're taking orders from their billionaire friends. They certainly stand up then. Those people who hoard what they call their wealth, but in reality it's our wealth in tax havens and those comfortable places around the world. I think you're right. Theresa May thinks she can win the general election by claiming that she cares about working people. No, let's be kind. She talks about building a fair society. Does she think people will forget what the Tories have done for this country? How they've actually treated working people? This Tory leader sat alongside David Cameron in government for 6 years. She was in the cabinet room when they decided to introduce the bedroom tax. And so, for that matter, were the Liberal Democrats as part of that same coalition. What was fair about that? About racking up tuition fees, or taking benefits away from people with disabilities, about closing Sure Start centres, or starving schools of cash so they now have to have collections to pay the teachers and the teaching assistants, or opening up the NHS to be plundered by profiteers in the health and social care. And what was fair about giving big business and the very richest in society tax giveaways worth tens of billions of pounds, while the rest of us were told tighten our belts and accept a big dose of austerity?
Woo!
The Tories are hoping everyone has short memories. But if that fails, they have another card they're playing, that this election is about Brexit and who can play it being toughest with Brussels. But we will not allow the Tories to put their party interests ahead of the real interests of the people of this country. This election isn't about Brexit itself. That issue was the subject of the referendum. This question is now, what sort of Brexit do we want? And what sort of country do we want to be in the future? And who can really be trusted to put working people first? Labour wants a jobs Brexit, a Brexit that safeguards the future of Britain's vital industries, a Brexit that paves the way to a genuinely fairer society and an upgraded economy. Labour's plan to transform Britain will mean investing in infrastructure and new industries, rebuilding our National Health Service and our social care services and our mental health services, giving our children and young people a chance to fulfil their potential. Because we believe in children, all of them should get the same chance, irrespective of the postcode that they live in.
Yay!
We want to pay lip service to working people. We will introduce a comprehensive programme to strengthen rights at work. Make sure new jobs are good jobs, and an end to the race to the bottom in pay, conditions and job security. Low pay and insecurity are like an epidemic under the Tories. We will invest in skills and jobs and take action to enforce a floor under employment standards across the board so that all jobs are decent jobs, that all workers, the true wealth creators in this country, can play their part in transforming Britain.
Yay! Woo! Go on, Jeremy!
Transformation means that instead of a country run for the rich, Britain will be a country in which people are not held back, in which everyone is able to lead a richer life. That's why we, all of us, are fighting to win this election. To win?
Hey, hey.
Not because we dream for the trappings of office, but because we want a fairer country. A country for the many, not the few.
Hey! Woo!
The election results yesterday leave us in no doubt about the scale of our challenge. We know this is no small task. It's a challenge on a huge scale. But we, the whole Labour movement, and the people of this country can't afford not to seize this moment. We have until June the 8th to win the general election, so we can fundamentally transform Britain, the many, not the few. When we win, as Labour, we formed the NHS in the post-war Labour government. When we won, in the 1960s, we introduced the Equal Pay Act. When we won in the 1990s, we established the national minimum wage. And I tell you this, it was one of the proudest days of my life. I'd been in a public sector union, NUPE, campaigning for the national minimum wage. And many thought, you can't get it, can't do it, why should you legislate for it? And eventually we got it through. But we're going to go further than that. We're going to make sure there's a real living wage, £10 an hour.
Hey!
When we win, the people win. The nurse, the teacher, the small trader, the carer, the builder, the office worker, they all win. We're offering a real choice, a real alternative to the rigged system that is holding us back, and the Conservatives who are running our country down in every way. An alternative for the many, not the few. And we need to be that real alternative, because too many people worry that voting won't change anything, that all politicians are the same. Well, we're not all the same, but people are frustrated that the system remains rigged in the few, for the few, that the lives of the many don't seem to be getting any better. They vote, nothing changed. The economy is still rigged in favour of the rich and powerful. We have to show that we are different, that we will transform this country. We are genuinely for the many, not the few. When Labour wins, there will be a reckoning for those who thought they could get away with asset stripping our industries, crashing our economy through their greed, and ripping off workers and consumers. When did the Conservatives, Osborne, Cameron, May, Johnson, ever stand up to their financial backers and demand our money back? They never did, and they never will. They make our nurses, our carers, our soldiers, our disabled, our young people trying to get a home of their own, our elderly looking for dignity in retirement, and for those working hard to get a foothold in some decent housing. It makes me angry. It makes me really angry. And I know it makes the people of this country angry too. So today, I say to tax cheats, rip-off bosses, the greedy bankers, enough is enough.
Hey!
We want that money for investment. We've always stood up for the many, not the few. and I will always stand up for our beliefs. It can be a lonely place. Campaigning against privatisation, tax cuts for the rich, letting the banks become all powerful, and the Iraq war, when many politicians were pushing them through, was not always easy. We stood up for workers' pay, better public services, a fairer society, a more equal economy, and for peace and justice. Standing up for your beliefs in any circumstances takes great determination. It can be frustrating, it takes its toll. It's far easier to compromise your beliefs and go along for the ride. But our strength is holding on to what we believe in. Standing up for the many against the few means a strong